Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well, and today I've got another Black Series review for you. We're going to take a look at the Star Wars Black Series IG-11. Now, I managed to pick him up recently, so this is the original release of him, not the carbonized version, the standard version, yeah, I managed to pick him up at Forbidden Planet actually, as you may have seen in my trip down to London video. So we're going to jump into it. Do leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It would help me out and you won't miss any of the content to come. And as ever, we're going to jump into what comes in the box first. So straight away, you're going to get IG-11 and two blasters. You're going to get this blaster here and this blaster here. Now, they are just the standard kinds of blasters that you've seen before, just changed slightly. This is kind of a derivative of the kind of blaster you've seen with the Stormtroopers. It's a little bit smaller, but it's really well weathered. It's got that kind of like gunmetal grey and then the silvering look, which makes it look kind of like the paint has been chipping off and it's weathered. So that looks fantastic. As you can see, it's just slightly different to the kind of Stormtrooper standard blaster. It's a little bit smaller in scale, but looks fantastic. The sculpting and the detail is all there, but that paint job just makes it pop, so that's fantastic. And then we've got this one, which is the same kind of blaster you see with the Snow Trooper, but again a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller. Again, all the detail is there, looks fantastic. And then you've got that paint job that really makes it pop, so it looks amazing. You've got a little bit of a peg hole there that will come onto that helps with the grip when he holds it, but as you can see, you've got a holster for the big one on the back, so that he can carry that, and that looks amazing, fits fantastically, and then you can hold that, but you can hold two at the same time, but we'll move on to that in a second. So obviously IG-11 from the Mandalorian TV series, one of our favourites, a fan favourite that we didn't get for too long before he made the ultimate sacrifice, but he will be missed. I really liked the kind of writing of IG-11. They gave him that dry kind of humour, but also gave him presence and gave him purpose, and kind of made us, again, it's one of those, you don't know why you feel for a droid, but you do when they become relatable, or they have compassion. And when he was reprogrammed, especially, he definitely became a character that warmed our hearts. But he is a badass droid, that is for certain. So when we look at what he's come with, these blasters, his hands, because he doesn't have the regular hands, if I can get that to focus for you, the articulation, there's no movement in the hands, it's just props. So basically the holes in the butt of the rifle that we talked about would go on the peg on the wrist, and then he has the bottom of the grip there is just resting on this back piece of the hand, and then these two other pieces come around and kind of pinch together on the trigger, but they're more of a rest than anything. They obviously don't thread through anything very well, but as you can see, holds onto the blaster just fine. Looks fantastic, looks just like it does on screen, so perfect on that. And it's the same with the longer rifle, but we will keep it in the holster for now. So again, like I said, just pops off. In terms of the look, they've nailed the design of IG-11. Obviously he was inspired by IG-88 and those kind of assassin kind of bounty hunter droids, but he looks fantastic. I mean, from the feet up, you've got a great paint job, some lovely weathering with the gunmetal grey and the silver there. You've got kind of like the pipes and the tubing and all that sort of stuff, and the paint job continues up. You've got this, if I can get into focus, you've got this kind of metallic look of the kind of metal that's seen wear and tear. You've got the kind of bronze shades underneath and all the piping and stuff like that. These covers on the elbows are actually rubber. You can kind of see that it's the crinkled kind of rubber that you'll see on sort of tubing and stuff like that, in industrial places and that sort of stuff. But you can see there's kind of texture, and that does move, and that covers the joints, and it looks really good. Moving up, obviously you've got like the bandolier. Again, you've got the kind of the detail of his workings, his mechanics, the bronze kind of shoulder pauldron pieces. Moving up to the head with those awesome red eyes. He just looks fantastic. I mean, as a droid, like, because he's so exposed, you see everything, going on. But all credit to Black Series for absolutely nailing the application of it, and nailing the paint job, and all of the details. These tubing pieces, they have a little bit of movement, rather than being just sculpted pieces that don't move. We'll move on to that in a minute, but because they are connected at both ends, they don't disconnect intentionally. That's something you need to worry about in terms of snapping them off for articulation. But in terms of a look, they've really nailed it, and I think that he looks fantastic. I mean, when you take a look at him there, it's just awesome. In terms of articulation, then, moving on to that aspect, from the feet, he's got the kind of R2-D2 feet, where you've got that kind of tilt back and forth. It's pretty good when you consider, in the knee, he's got single joints, as you can see. The one thing I'll say though is, although he's got joints in the knees, you can see that just got tighter as I just moved the knee slightly, that tubing piece, that wire piece should I say, or like the cable. So when it comes to articulation, his left leg you can't move because it stretches that and it will snap out. Same with kind of this one. With the other leg, he does have a little bit more slack in this one, so he can move to 90, which that's fine. There is a double joint, I think, here in the knee, but it's very discreet if it is one. But I don't know if it is. It's got a peg, if you can kind of see, if I move it forward, it's got the kind of pegging there that you would think is loose, and you kind of can move it, but then it doesn't go, and to be honest, there's not much you can do with it because of the cable anyway. Sorry if I can get that into focus. So I would say that it's single joint, and honestly it wouldn't add anything it being double jointed. So that's one of those things where the articulation in the legs isn't great, but with the design of the character, there's not much you can do, unless you make them kind of stretchy cords, which would have been possibly a way to go. Obviously he's basically the same body build and reuse as IG-88, just with slight alterations. But in terms of the hips, you can kind of see here he can move those just fine. He's got good range of motion front and back, completely up to 90 and back to 90. He won't split, and something you will notice is that his feet and his legs are very close together, and obviously that's part and parcel of the design of IG-80. Where am I going? The design of IG-11. Sorry, just got the IGs are just in my head, and because of that, they're very close, which means his balance is, it's somewhat questionable at times. Now this is quite a flat surface, but like, you're going to struggle at times to get him to stand because he doesn't have the ability either to widen his legs to make his balance and sort of centre of gravity sort of low, and a wider stance would help with balance, because you can kind of rely on that. When it's in the middle like this, he's going to teeter either way, so could be somewhat difficult. He's managing to stand for me just fine. Something that I think they could have done though is just maybe made the hips a little bit wider. I know he is a very lanky, kind of tall, skinny character and build, but that's something that, in terms of articulation for an action figure or toy photography, like for me, that's something that is somewhat of a hindrance. But he's such a cool character that, to be honest, if you've got him in a shot twisting all sorts of ways and kicking ass, I mean, I'm sure you can take some liberties. But moving up sort of towards the top of the figure, there's not so much of a torso kind of bend in the normal sense, because there's no ab crunch. Up here though, if you can see, I'll take the rifle out. He's got like this kind of, if I can get into focus for you, it's not so much of an ab crunch, because these abs and this kind of abdominal section is set, it doesn't move, but the rotation kind of, you can see there that there's this cog kind of thing that this rotates around, which looks really cool. Like, it looks really cool the way they've integrated his body into the workings of the figure. But I would say it's more of like a chest pivot that allows him to sort of come all the way forward and all the way back really well. So that's really good articulation in that sense, and that means that, again, the lack of articulation in the legs is made up for in the top of the torso, and then you've got at the arms, he can come up to 90, he'll spin 360, and then the elbows will come to 90 just about, and then you've got the kind of regular articulation of the shoulder of, you know, spinning it up and around and flexing upwards if you want to do that. There's no articulation in the hands because they're just sort of pincers that don't move, so that's fine because of the way they've designed him and the weapons so that he can hold those, so that's good. I don't know if he can hold other Black Series weapons well. I imagine it's one of those things, again, if toy photography, you know, you get crafty and you do what you need to do, a little bit of blue tack maybe, but I'm sure there's weapons that have the little grooves that you can kind of see here, and if not, it's one of those things where I'm sure you can position his hand in a way that you know, he can kind of secure it for the time being. I really like the way they've integrated the bandolier kind of belt. You got the explosives there, but the way this blaster rifle is holstered is really nice because it goes well with the look of him, and I like that he can hang on to it. I know on IG-88 he's got like this knife, kind of butcher's knife thing that goes on his back and stuff like that. I'm not sure if all of his weapons go into holsters on him, but yeah, it's good to see that you could have both his weapons available to him if you're not using them in both hands. I would have said though, maybe to have another holster on this side. I'm not sure how screen accurate it would have been, but I think it would have been a good addition. Like we said, really good movement up in the chest, but the head will go 360, and the head, I mean, as a sculpt, obviously it's a droid, so it's a different kind of ball game to face you know, realization and that sort of stuff. But I mean, in terms of a face, they've nailed the head sculpt of him. He rotates 360. He doesn't need to tilt because the character doesn't do that. He doesn't have that range of motion. But they've really captured his kind of binocular looking eyes and the redness inside them. You can never tell which one his eye is. I don't know if it's like every red part was his eye, but or sensors, you know. But I dig it. I think IG-11 is an awesome character and an awesome figure. I definitely was happy to pick him up. Because he's one of those ones which, again, he was released in the OG Black Series boxes, the red and black ones, but before I was collecting Black Series figures and doing toy photography regularly, so it wasn't something I could get hold of, and on the secondary market he's been very expensive for a long time, and then I just found him in Forbidden Planet, was not expecting it, and I was like, give me that. So he came home with me and I'm very happy about it. I think in terms of versatility, again, you can kind of use him in the scope of he's an assassin droid, he's IG-88, IG-11, or just an assassin droid, you know, or a bounty droid. You don't necessarily need to say he's IG-11 because they're all sort of identical in that regard. So you can use some artistic kind of liberty there and be really creative. I think though with the Mandalorian show, the shots from that and the kind of episodes and missions from that are so diverse and leave so much creative room that you could really do so much with him. Although we've only ever seen you know, IG-88 a brief glimpse, and then in the Clone Wars we've seen some of those droids, and then we've seen IG-11 in the Mandalorian TV series. You could put him in any era easily, and definitely you could do all sorts of shots. So I think he's very versatile. I think he's probably more versatile than people would think on the surface. Articulation is good when you consider the character. I think it's hindered in the normal sense of, you know, a humanoid body, but I think as a droid, I think it's fantastic. And really fits the character. The look, he looks awesome. I mean, they've nailed IG-11 in my opinion, so I definitely think he's worth a pickup. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. I do like the figure because I really like the character as well. It's just got something about him. You know, that scene where he was absolutely destroying stormtroopers on the speeder bike, that was sick. And I do believe Taika Waititi is the voice of IG-11, and he's a fan favourite as well. So all in all, IG-11, great character and a great figure. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I hope it was informative yet again. Do like and subscribe if you've enjoyed, and you won't miss any of the content to come. Be sure to do that because you don't want to miss it. And I'm going to leave you with this one as ever, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.